All right, we're here with assistant coach Preki to talk a little bit about the attacking end of this Sounders team that has gotten a couple of good performances. Maybe in the last game, not the result you wanted, but it feels like you guys have some good momentum building from the Club World Cup and some of the efforts that you guys had there. Where do you feel like this team is at right now on the attacking end?
I think we're in a good spot. We showed in the World Cup against top teams that we have ability to play and we have an idea how to play. And unfortunately, like you said, in last game, it wasn't the result that we wanted it, but we really had a lot of confidence going into the game, created a lot of chances, and sometimes the ball doesn't go in the net. But when you create the chances and when you are creating a lot of good attacking play in the opponent's half, you have to be happy because now the teams are learning about Sounders and they're preparing to play against Sounders and they play differently. They drop in the lower block and sometimes that's the hardest part of the game, breaking the opponent when they are on top of the box and then defend with big numbers. A lot of times you have to be patient and you might not get 5-10 opportunities that you want. You might get 2 or 3 and you have to take them. And sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. And last weekend we only took one chance. We had 3 or 4 more that we could have been better with. But I'm really pleased the way we're moving the ball and how we're playing together and attacking half of the field.
Obviously, one thing that you guys have liked or have been doing consistently is playing Jesus on the wide right side where he comes in and is playing in those inside channels, and the fullback on the right, he's your widest player. What is it that has been working with Jesus there, and what do you feel like maybe he's adding that you hadn't gotten in the past from that position?
He's a smart player. We ask about that position to be the playing between the lines, to be active, to connect with the forwards and the wide players, and to move around, to change the places, sometimes with the pivots, change the places sometimes with opposite player on the other side. In many cases that's Albert, to play free, and he's just done that, and I feel like there is even more to come from him. Obviously he's been around us for 6 months. Is adapting how we play and he's making a good progress in my opinion.
In your experience with him, I mean, obviously he's a versatile player, but have you guys already set on him being a winger, or is the 9 still a possibility?
We're going from game to game basis. What's availability? Who do we have? How do we how do we structure our team? Who fits in what positions in the best way? And so far, I feel like he's found his spot where he's been effective. And when you find the spot, why change the things around? If the player becomes comfortable where he plays and how he plays, you just feel like you go with the flow. You just trust the player in those situations that first of all he's comfortable, he knows what he's doing, and secondly and most importantly that he has the quality to deliver final pass or to get around the goal. Now he scored a couple of goals, has assists, so he's been settling pretty well.
Speaking on that, Masovsky's been working, but obviously Jordan's coming in hot. That's his position. Does the system change? How does it change a little bit when Jordan is rather than when Danny's is inside?
Different players. Jordan is powerful, incredible speed, good finisher, with the feet in the air. It's something that we still working with Jordan, how to be more connector. That's the difference between him and Moose. Moose a lot of the times is a connector. He's the guy who comes underneath the line, connects the play. Two different players, but we are now learning that we can use them both. So it's a really good place to be when you have 2 really good forwards and competing for spots. So.
Another great thing that has worked for you guys that's been consistent is your pivots. Christian Roldan has been amazing, and Obed Vargas. Obed several times has given you credit for the growth he's had as a player. What have you seen from him and the growth, the difference that he's had, over the years?
Well, he's getting more and more comfortable in tight areas. And yeah, he can give me all the credit he wants. I'm here just giving him little pointers here and there, but all this credit goes to the player because he's the one who's taking what I'm telling him and he's showing on the field. And he's growing. Obviously, he's a young boy when he started and he's developing and he's going in the right direction. Now he's becoming a threat in the final part of the field. That's where I see the growth and maturity and the moments when he can slow the game down, when he can speed the game up. I think him and Christian have done a fantastic job in terms of playing off each other, who's a little bit lower, who's higher, when they're connected to each other. And I couldn't be, and I think whole staff couldn't be more happier the way they're developing there.
One thing that he does, like you said, was the aggressiveness to cut inside the box, and then he does that little back pass. Is that something that he's added to his game, just that aggressiveness towards goal?
I think he always had a little bit in him, but we've been able to almost encourage him to do that more often from the second line, to find the moments when you can be dangerous, not being a consistent go, but find the good balancing moments when he's going to attack the space, when he's going to come from the second line, from the blind side when the defense doesn't see him. And I think he's done a pretty good job. He's a very, very good young player who has a really, really high ceiling in my opinion.
And in that aspect, how important is Christian to allow him to just be able to get forward while he does all that defensive effort?
I mean, it's super important. Christian is almost like a glue on the team. He does a lot of unselfish work. What I like about Christian, he's getting better and better in terms of dictating the pace of the game. His ability to connect is getting better. I still feel, even he's 30 years old, I still feel there is a lot more to come from Christian because he's a willing learner. He listens pretty good. He tries to bring the things that we talk about on the field. And I'm honestly really surprised that he hasn't been called up in the national team because if anybody deserves it, he's been deserving that.
One player that has kind of hit a bit of an obstacle has been Pedro de la Vega. He is a player that maybe he's not getting a lot of minutes right now. Obviously, a lot of competition in that role. How do you continue to develop him as he's having issues just getting play time?
Well, the thing is, he's come from different environment, first of all, where he's asked to do different things. And then he got injured. He almost missed a full year. This is the first time now for a consistent period that we have him in the training environment. And in a lot of moments we've seen the growth of Pedro, but sometimes things don't work out for him, and he tries maybe to do a little bit extra just because that's a natural thing, because you want to prove to the coaching staff, yeah, I deserve more minutes and things. Throughout a conversation with the staff, we've been very patient with him, and we're trying to make him understand that the doing less sometimes is doing more. To be patient in certain moments, to make sure he does the right things for the team, and the playing times will get there. As long as he start doing the things that are good for the team, but also the benefit himself, and they will. Like I explained to him how the goal happened for him. The goal happened for him when movement, third man, ball came to me, goal. Sometimes, just when you do simple things, many more moments open up for you in attacking field. But he's a smart guy. I talk to him regularly. I think he's very, very observing. When you talk to him, he understands what he needs to do, and he's working. He's working really hard in training. And when you work hard in training, the good things happen. They're coming around the corner. So I think his moments will come.
You understand attacking players better than most, and I feel like confidence is a thing that really helps. How do you build that confidence?
We encourage him to do things in certain moments. I mean, because a lot of the times I work with him on the field. I said, Pedro, when you get moments on the outside, 1v1, total freedom. Now you do your stuff. Or when you're in the middle of the field, try to play simple. Wait for your moment. The moment will come. Game is long. The moments will come. And I try to encourage him in those moments to be brave. It's up to him. I don't think he's one of those guys that he lacks confidence. I don't think he should. He's a very technical player. He has 2 good feet. I think it's just a matter of time when he's going to come up.
And on the other end, despite him being a player that has kind of grown up through the Tacoma Defiance and he's not an international, Paul Rothrock has really solidified himself on that left side. What is it about his play that does good for your system?
Work ethics. He's willing to do little things. He's willing to run without the ball. He's willing to run in the box. He's willing to put his head on somebody's cleats. His willingness to be a pest. And his work ethics, every day he wants to get better. You have a hard time shutting him down because he always wants more. He's willing to come in the film room and he wants more. He studies the game. And a lot of the times, if you go into any other major sports, what are the best players? The best players are the ones that won the most. And who are the players that you think they'll never get somewhere? They get there because they have that mentality. Okay, nobody's gonna stop me. I'm gonna get there by outworking everybody else.
I love that. And then obviously in the attacking end, Albert, he's such an important guy to your system. It seems like he continues to grow. What have you seen at him this year specifically?
Albert is just a quality player. Smart, rarely loses the ball, positionally plays exactly what we want him. If I was being a little bit selfish, I would ask for him to be even more aggressive because I feel like he has more in him. But I have no complaints about Albert. Albert is one of our most important players. That's how he plays. You see the stats a lot of the times don't lie. Especially when you're winning, especially when you're inside of things.
And speaking of that aggressiveness, one thing that I've noticed this year for the Sounders is that they're really getting possession, but at times maybe they miss moments where in transition they could be more aggressive runs, a couple of more direct passes. Do you agree with that assessment, or how do you get better on that?
Sometimes that happens, but that's the things we were talking about. We have when you have a Jordan, we haven't had him for 3 months. That's the biggest threat in transition that we have. Not that Moose is not athletic enough, but Jordan is just a different animal, and he gives you that threat. As soon as the spaces open up, he is just who he is. And we haven't had that weapon, so we've been playing a little bit different, but when he comes, obviously, that's going to be always there.
And as we try to close this down, obviously you unfortunately will miss a guy like Joe Paulo for the rest of the season. What's the next step? Is it Danny Leyva that's going to be taking some of that ability to distribute the ball, that calmness that maybe that JP provided? How do you move forward from that?
Well, exactly what you said. We really do not have a lot of options in that area, but the players that we have, the quality, Danny can always come and give you good minutes. He's technically very good, good decision maker, good passer of the ball. He can play a little higher, he can play a little lower. We see what the club decides. What's the next step? I can't get into that, but this is what we have. And to be honest, this group plays pretty well together.
And finally, obviously, you guys are going to Kansas City, a team that has had some ups and downs. Statistically, offensively, they had struggles, but they've been able to gather a couple of results here late. What do you see from that game? What do you guys have to do to get a result in Kansas City?
We're gonna have to have a good mentality because it could be a tricky game. You cannot overlook anybody, especially teams that they are below you, and the teams that they're looking to get a momentum, and like you said, they gathered a couple of results, so they're probably feeling pretty good about themselves. And if you go into their home and you're not mentally prepared for a hard game, then obviously gonna be from the start, in trouble. So that's something that we're trying to message to our team, that we gotta go in there and treat that game like we're playing against Paris Saint-Germain. That's the reality. You have to treat every game like you're playing against the best team, because football is a weird game. You can't take anybody lightly these days.
And here, finally, I'll just throw this one out there as a bonus question. The future is bright for Obed. It's very likely that he'll be gone, if not this year, maybe next year. How do you handle that? You're probably proud of a guy that's, making his way, but you're probably going to miss him a whole lot for your team, for your system.
I'm not going to miss him. Sure, we're going to miss him. But on the end of the day, I will be incredibly proud. Seeing him what he was when he came, how much he grown as a player, as a young man. And I would want to see him succeed. I would want to see him to go and do higher things. It's on him. He has those abilities. Now it's up to him to make that count.
Thank you, Coach.